Alright, so I never thought I'd be the guy posting on here, but life has a way of humbling you in the worst possible ways. For context, I've been married to my wife, Sara, for 8 years. We met in college, did the whole power couple thing. She's in marketing, I work in IT. We weren't perfect, but we had what I thought was a solid foundation. Or at least, that's what I believed before everything came crashing down. Looking back, the signs were there. The late nights at work that became more frequent, the way she started being extra protective of her phone, the sudden new interest in going to the gym, without me, mind you. But I ignored it because, well, you don't just assume your wife is out there doing that. Then came the moment that changed everything. One night, she was working late again, and I was scrolling through Reddit, half distracted by some stupid meme thread, when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, I think you should know what your wife's been up to." My stomach dropped. I stared at the message, heart pounding, fingers hovering over the keyboard. A million thoughts rushed through my head. Was this some kind of scam? A prank? But something deep inside me already knew this was real. I took a deep breath and responded. "Who is this?" The reply came almost instantly. "Someone who's been in your shoes. Check her workgroup chat. You'll find what you need." And that's when my hands started shaking. I sat there for a solid minute, just staring at my phone, feeling like my stomach had been replaced with a block of ice. Sarah's workgroup chat? What the hell was that supposed to mean? I wasn't even sure how to check it. We weren't the kind of couple who had each other's passwords, we trusted each other. Or at least, I trusted her. But I did know that she sometimes used her laptop for work, and I also knew she wasn't exactly the best at logging out of things. So, against every instinct screaming at me that I was about to see something I could never unsee, I went to her home office and opened her laptop. And there it was. Logged into her Slack, right in front of me. I clicked on her Teams chat. At first, it was just boring work stuff, deadlines, meetings, the usual. But then I saw a private thread between her and someone named Matt Sales. I clicked it. And that's when my whole world cracked open. "Matt, last night was insane. I can still smell you on me." "Sara, ha, shut up, face blowing a kiss, someone's gonna see this." "Matt, you love it. When's the next late night meeting?" "Sara, ugh, probably tomorrow. Gotta keep the boss happy, winking face." I felt my vision tunnel. My breathing got weird, like I couldn't get enough air. This wasn't just casual flirting. This was a full-blown thing. And judging by the timestamps, it had been going on for months. I don't even remember closing the laptop. One second I was reading those messages, the next I was pacing the living room, my hands in my hair, my whole body vibrating with anger, betrayal, disbelief, every horrible feeling at once. Then my phone buzzed again. "Unknown number, told you." I don't know why, but I snapped. I called the number. 1 ring. 2. Then, a voice I didn't recognize picked up. "Yeah? Who the hell is this?" I practically growled. The guy sighed. "Look, I'm sorry, man. I know this sucks. But I've been there. And I figured you deserved to know before it got worse." Before it got worse? How the hell could it get worse? "Who are you?" I demanded. The line went silent for a moment. Then, in the calmest, most matter-of-fact voice, he said, "I'm her ex." And just like that, the plot thickened. I stood there gripping my phone so tightly my fingers ached. My wife's ex was the one tipping me off? What kind of twisted soap opera was I living in? Her ex? I finally managed to say. "Yeah," the guy sighed. "Name's Jason. Dated Sara for 3 years before you. She cheated on me too." My blood ran cold. I didn't know much about Sara's exes, she never talked about them in detail, and I never pried. But now, one of them was calling me out of the blue, basically telling me I was next on the list. "I know you don't owe me a damn thing," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "but why are you telling me this?" Jason chuckled bitterly. Because I wish someone had told me. And because I've been watching this same movie play out over and over again. She's got a pattern, man. I figured you deserved a heads up before you waste any more years on her. I rubbed my face, trying to process. How did you even find out? Let's just say Matt isn't as discreet as he thinks. He's been bragging about it to mutual friends. Jesus. So now I wasn't just some clueless husband, I was a publicly clueless husband. The rage that had been simmering inside me boiled over. Do you have proof? I asked, my voice coming out sharper than I intended. Jason hesitated, then said, check your messages. A second later, my phone buzzed again. I opened it. There were screenshots. A lot of them. Texts between Sara and Matt. DMs. Even a blurry photo of them at some bar, leaning in way too close. It was undeniable. Man, I'm sorry, Jason said. I really am. I swallowed hard. Yeah. Then I hung up. And just like that, I went from suspecting my wife was cheating, to knowing. But the worst part? I had no idea what the hell to do next. I sat on the couch, phone in one hand, a fistful of my own hair in the other, trying to piece together what the hell just happened. I had proof. Hard, undeniable proof. Screenshots, texts, even a damn photo. So why the hell was I just sitting there? I wanted to explode. To scream. To smash something. But instead, I just froze. There's this weird thing your brain does when reality hits you like a freight train. You start bargaining with yourself, trying to find loopholes, excuses, anything that makes it hurt less. Maybe it's not what it looks like. Maybe she'll have an explanation. Maybe I can fix this. Yeah, I know. Pathetic. I stared at my phone, my thumb hovering over Sara's contact. I could call her. Demand an explanation. Confront her right now. But then another thought crept in. Why give her a chance to lie? Because let's be real, she would. She'd twist it, gaslight me, maybe even cry. And knowing myself? I'd probably hesitate. I'd want to believe her. No. I needed a plan. I checked the time. 9:37 p.m. She wasn't supposed to be home for another hour. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I grabbed my spare car key, threw on a hoodie, and drove to her office. Not to barge in or cause a scene, no, I just wanted to see. To confirm, with my own eyes, that this was real. Because if I saw her car in that parking lot, like she always claimed when she worked late, maybe, for one tiny second, I could pretend none of this was happening. But if it wasn't there? Then I'd know for sure. And something told me I wouldn't like the answer. I pulled into the parking lot of Sara's office, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. The building was mostly dark, except for a few scattered lights, probably the janitorial crew or some poor intern burning the midnight oil. I scanned the lot, searching for her car. It wasn't there. My stomach twisted. Maybe she parked somewhere else? Maybe she took an Uber? Maybe. No. Enough with the mental gymnastics. She wasn't here. I exhaled slowly, trying to keep my hands from shaking. I had suspected it. Jason had told me. But seeing the empty space where her car should be? That made it real in a way that hit differently. I wasn't ready to go home. Not yet. I pulled up my texts and scrolled to our last conversation. Me, hope you're not working too hard. Love you. Sent at 7:12 p.m. Sara, ugh, such a long night. I'll be home soon. Red heart, sent at 8:45 p.m. A lie. A casual, effortless lie. I clenched my jaw and typed. Where are you? No response. I checked her location on Find My iPhone, something we'd both enabled years ago, back when we actually trusted each other. She wasn't at work. She was across town. Near a bar. I swallowed the lump in my throat and stared at the little blinking dot on the map. I had two options. Go home. Pretend I never checked. Confront her when she walks in and see what kind of story she spins. Drive there and see for myself. I tapped my fingers against the steering wheel, my pulse hammering in my ears. Then, without thinking twice, I put the car in drive and headed straight for the bar. If I was about to have my heart shattered, I wanted front row seats. The drive over felt like something out of a movie, one of those slow-motion moments where you already know the ending, but you can't look away. I pulled into the parking lot of the bar, my heart beat so loud it felt like it was rattling inside my skull. Her car was there. Parked near the back, like she was trying not to be seen. I sat in my car for a second, gripping the steering wheel, trying to decide what the hell I was about to do. Storm in and cause a scene? Sit back and watch like some creep in a stakeout? Turns out, I didn't have to decide. Because at that exact moment, the door to the bar swung open. And there she was. Sara. Laughing. Drunk. Hanging off of Matt. I swear to God, I felt my stomach drop straight through the floor. They were way too close. Her hand was on his chest. He leaned in and whispered something in her ear, and she giggled like some lovesick teenager. Then, right in front of me, she grabbed his tie, pulled him in, and kissed him. And just like that, I stopped being a husband. I became a ghost. I don't even remember getting out of the car. 1 second I was sitting there, watching my life fall apart, and the next, I was walking straight toward them. Sara didn't even see me at first. She was too busy wrapping her arms around Matt's neck like he was the love of her damn life. Then Matt looked up. His eyes went wide. And Sara, my wife, turned around, saw me, and her face drained of all color. She opened her mouth, but I didn't wait for the excuses. Having fun? I said, my voice dead calm. The way her eyes darted around, the way she immediately let go of Matt like he was on fire? That told me everything I needed to know. And then, before she could say a single word, I pulled out my phone, snapped a picture of them together, and walked away. I didn't even look back. Because whatever Sara had to say? I didn't need to hear it. I don't even remember the drive home. My hands were gripping the wheel so hard they hurt, my mind racing between rage, betrayal, and the cold realization that my marriage was officially dead. By the time I got home, I felt empty. Numb. Like my body had shut down just to keep me from completely losing my mind. I walked inside, sat on the couch, and stared at the wall. The silence in the house felt different now, like it belonged to someone else. Then, my phone buzzed. Sara, babe, please. Let's talk. Sara, I swear it's not what it looked like. Sara, can you just answer me? I let the messages stack up. Didn't even read them. What was there to say? I had seen it with my own eyes. The sneaking around, the whispers, the kiss. There was no explanation in the world that could fix this. A few minutes later, I heard the front door open. I didn't move. Sara walked in, her heels clicking against the floor, her breath uneven like she had been crying, or maybe she was just pretending to cry. Babe, she said softly. Please talk to me. I turned my head slowly and met her gaze. Why? I asked. My voice wasn't angry, wasn't even loud. Just tired. She stepped forward, wringing her hands together. It was a mistake. I let out a bitter laugh. A mistake? Sara flinched. I was drunk, I wasn't thinking straight. Cut the crap, I interrupted, standing up. I read your messages. I know this wasn't the first time. Her eyes went wide. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through the screenshots Jason had sent me, and tossed it onto the table in front of her. Go ahead, I said. Explain this. Sara stared at the screen, her face crumbling. Her mouth opened and closed like she was searching for an excuse, but there wasn't one. She knew it. I knew it. Finally, she whispered, I'm so sorry. But for the first time since I'd met her, I felt absolutely nothing for her. No sympathy. No anger. Just nothing. And that's when I realized I was done. I stood there, staring at the woman I had spent the last 8 years building a life with, and I felt like I was looking at a stranger. Sara was crying now, real tears running down her face. But I didn't trust them. Maybe they were guilt. Maybe regret. But love? No. She hadn't loved me when she was sneaking around. She hadn't loved me when she was texting Matt late at night. She hadn't loved me when she was kissing him outside that bar. So why should I believe she loved me now? You're sorry? I repeated, my voice cold. For what, exactly? Sara sniffled. For everything. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't mean to get caught, I cut in. She winced, and for the first time, I saw something flicker in her expression. Not guilt. Not sadness. Frustration. Like she was mad at me for catching her. I exhaled sharply, rubbing my face. How long? Sara hesitated, eyes darting to the side. That was all the answer I needed. If you lie to me right now, I said, I swear to God, I'll make this so much worse for you. Her lip trembled. A few months. I let that sink in. Months. While I was sitting at home, trusting her, she had been sneaking around behind my back for months. Why? I asked again, softer this time. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then, finally, she whispered, I don't know. I laughed. Actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because that was the lamest excuse I had ever heard. You don't know? I repeated. You blew up our marriage, risked everything we built, and you can't even tell me why? More silence. I shook my head, feeling a wave of exhaustion crash over me. You know what? It doesn't even matter. Sara took a step closer. Can we talk about this? I can fix this, I swear. I stared at her, truly seeing her for the first time. And I realized something. She wasn't sorry because she loved me. She wasn't sorry because she wanted me. She was sorry because she was losing me. And that? That wasn't love. That was possession. No, I said. You can't. Sara blinked, as if she hadn't expected me to say it out loud. I turned, walked to the bedroom, and started pulling out a bag. Wait, she choked out. What are you doing? I looked at her over my shoulder. Leaving. And then, before she could say another word, I grabbed my keys, walked out the door, and left her standing there in the wreckage of her mistakes.